Welcome back to the Vanessa G Fitcast. I'm Vanessa Pozos, and here with me, as always, is my co-host and husband, Omar Pozos. How are you doing, Omar?
Oh, back to the how are you doing? Just a simple question today, huh?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am. Let's see. I'm a little tired. I think these last couple of days have been just tiring and stressful at work. But I'm also feeling inspired. Our team is continuing to grow a little bit. So what did we say yesterday? It's a combination of nervous and excited. So nerve-sighted. Is that a word?
Nerve-sighted.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
you made that up.
I did make it up, but that's how I'm feeling. How are you?
Yeah, I honestly very much around what this episode is centered around. I'm feeling like, just down.
Yeah.
And I think it's just one of those of like, it's just, there's a lot of heaviness in the world. I mean, this comes out next Monday. So, but we're recording this on 9/11, day after a lot of tragedies in the world of stabbing, shootings, like just so many things happening where you just are like, man, there's just so much going on in the world.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like just telling Omar too of like, man, this week has just been kicking my butt. Just like personally, it kind of feels like one of those weeks where you go into the plan you go into the day with a plan. I can't even talk. I'm like, feel like I can't think straight. You go into each day with a plan of how you want things to go of like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then instead you just kind of feel like you're pulled into other things. And don't get me wrong, lots of great things happening. Like Omar mentioned too, we just brought on 2 incredible team members onto Vital Spark. We're continuing to grow our team, and there's so many wonderful things too. And so there's probably a little bit of that, like sometimes you get that mix of like, why do I just feel down when there's so much to be grateful for? Like we're so blessed in so many ways. You almost feel like the guilt around the bad feelings too. And I think it just really comes back to of just sometimes life is just heavy. Life can feel heavy sometimes. Maybe that results in some sadness, some anxiety. Anybody who's listening, whether you relate to any of that, whether it's circumstantial of like you're listening to this when it came out and with a lot of what's been going on in the world, or maybe you're just listening to this at a certain point in time where you're like, that title resonates with me right now because that's how I'm feeling. I hope that this conversation can be helpful for you. And it's very much just what's top of mind for me. Not like I am a expert in this area by any means, but I figured it'd be something worth maybe talking about today.
Yeah, let's dive into it.
Well, what I was thinking about this morning, and I woke up this morning, I was like, I just don't want to get out of bed. Truly, it's like sometimes you have those days, where you just literally feel like you're like, I just feel weighed down and I just feel like I could just sleep this whole day away. Truly, I'm like, gosh, now I'm getting emotional. I'm like, why am it feeling like one of those days? And I just came back to was thinking about something that a mentor told me once of like, there are times where we need to manage our own minds. There are times where we need to dig in and think about what are our thought patterns? What perspective are we taking on what's happening? What are we thinking about? And we need to actively take control of our thoughts. We need to manage our thoughts. We need to manage our minds. Sometimes we just have to support ourselves. Sometimes it's truly like, it's not a mind management issue. Sometimes it truly comes down to just, how can I support myself during this time? And that was the question I was wrestling with this morning. And I don't know, thought I'd share a little bit of what I was thinking about, what I was coming up with in case anybody else resonates with this.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing all of that, babe. I know it's not easy or fun to talk about some of that stuff, especially when literally you're being recorded. But I love you, and we're going to get through it.
Not even my luteal phase.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even blame it on hormones.
Yeah.
My follicular phase, you guys. Yeah, sorry. Pulling myself together here. But I think one of the biggest things, so this is just, again, top of mind for me. I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, I think one of the biggest things, especially today, in this day and age, is if you are finding yourself feeling like this sense of like heaviness, you feel just weighed down, you just feel like some days you get up and you're like, I just don't even want to get up and go about my day. One of the most important things, get off of social media. Like, seriously, this is something that we are so terrible about today in our culture. And thinking about this a lot, and with, you know, a lot of like the posts that we're seeing right now of just like things again happening in the world of stabbings and shootings. Our brains are not wired and designed to just consume a video of someone getting shot and then scroll past and see a video of something funny going on, like
a puppy or like, you know,
yeah,
just
like
people having fun.
We should not be consuming content like this. Like, this is not good or healthy for us. Obviously, that's like the extreme examples of what's just presently happening a lot on social media. But at the same time, there's a lot on social media that is not good for our brains in other ways. And it could be things that maybe is objectively, you know, good stuff. But if you're not in a good place mentally and you're scrolling on social media and you're just seeing these endless highlight reels of people's lives, that can be really hard and really tough too. And if you're living in this place where we are just this overabundance of these happy chemicals in our brains from scrolling social media, yet we're not actually feeling connected to human beings. We're not actually feeling this true depth of connection with people. Like, gosh, no wonder we're feeling heavy in the world.
I think for me, it shows up in a way where not just comparison, but I think I start to feel that I'm missing something, right? Because my life isn't this highlight reel. And it's funny, the biggest thing that I've noticed for me is like when we travel or when we go somewhere new, I'm like, oh, well, like I want to go here and I want to go there. And if I don't do that, then I feel like I'm missing out, instead of me being like, wow, look at how grateful I am that I got to experience this to begin with, or even just coming back to it, like, you know, work related. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and I have to do this and I have to do that. I'm like, wait, I mean, you know, you and I have started this journey of entrepreneurship in the last, 5-6 years, but I'm like, 5 years ago, I would have given my left arm to be in the position that I am now. And just the fact that I get to do the things that we do with my wife and my partner and, my team and the impact that we're having. But to your point, yeah, I do think that, social media is a very, an endless rabbit hole that we can go down. And if you're not in a good place mentally, it could help you even spiral even out of control, because it is showing you all the things that people have, but it never shows you the people that, are struggling or that are going through similar things that you're going through, unfortunately.
It like gives you this constant sense of lack in life.
There you go. That's what I was looking for, yeah.
And the reality is we're all choosing to do this. We're choosing to be on social media and spend so much time on social media. And it's wild. I mean, of course, like for myself, it's part of my work. It's, I use it for educational purposes, for marketing purposes, for all these like wonderful things of connecting with people and being able to, connect with women that I can help them. And like, there's just so many good things, of course, that can come from social media. I don't want to like, of course, be like, oh, social media is entirely bad. There's good with the bad, right? But we can't ignore the fact that if we are in a place where life is feeling heavy, it's probably not good to be spending time scrolling. It isn't.
Well, it's also, I think it just sometimes, myself included, I use it to like fill a void. And I'm like, you know what? I just had a long day. I just want to like mindlessly numb out and scroll and like doom scroll through posts or Netflix or whatever that situation might be. And instead I could be like, you know what, maybe let me go for a walk. Let me read something that is, helpful or inspirational or is going to fill my cup, other than just like literally, I feel like a lab rat where I'm just like scrolling through social media.
Or even
sometimes.
Just like allowing ourselves to be bored. Like truly think of like when we grew up, we didn't have all these screens to be in front of all the time. And like there was times where you would just like sit in boredom and just like daydream and just think. And like nowadays, there's not a whole lot of that. Like you have to force that to happen, because it's like you have even just like you stand in line to pick up a coffee. Maybe, 15 years ago, if you were standing in a line to pick up coffee, I imagine you'd probably like maybe make conversation with somebody standing next to you, or maybe just like look around and like notice your environment. Now, if you look at a people standing, waiting in a line, I guarantee you most of the line is probably on their phone as they're waiting.
I'm on my phone as I'm waiting at a red light sometimes, which is so bad.
You should not admit that. That is illegal in the state of Florida.
I'm at a full stop.
But, yeah, social media is such a huge one. So it's really starting there. Another thing that I think is really powerful is actually just doing something for somebody else. And now this one is, I think, a tough one to kind of talk about, because my argument around this, and again, I am not a I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I am not by any means an expert in this area, but this is just something from a lot of what I've noticed with myself and the work I've done in supporting myself through times that feel a little bit heavy, and sometimes trying to support others in a coaching context. And what I think that I've found with myself is oftentimes when I'm feeling like life is heavy, a lot of my thoughts are actually very self-consumed. And this can sound hard to hear, but the reality is a lot of it is we're almost all too selfish in the sense of how much we're thinking about how we are affected by things, how, we're worrying about what others think about us. We're worrying about, the future of ourselves and our lives. Like we're actually very, when you think about
very
it,
self-centered.
we are self-centered in that way. And it's a negative bias of self-centered, because I also don't want to say if like it's bad to think about yourself in any way. Like I also think there's an argument for in some ways, some of us may be giving too much of ourselves to others, and we may be, we may be people pleasing in ways. But I could even argue that a lot of that also comes back to wanting to control how others feel about you. So you are people pleasing from a place of actually selfishness, of actually self-consumed worrying about yourself. What I want to encourage here is when it comes to these times where life feels heavy and you just feel kind of like weighed down, maybe with sadness, maybe just with like, man, there's just like things feel hard right now. Go do something for somebody else in a way that is completely detached from how others perceive you. Don't do something so that you can tell people that you did it. Don't do something that you can post it on social media. Do something for somebody else, even if there's a way you can do it like completely anonymously. Do it purely only so you can experience the feeling of being there for somebody else in some way. And this could be like a really big, grand thing, of course. It could be something completely tiny. This could be that maybe somebody comes across your mind and you just shoot them a text message and let them know you were thinking about them, that you care about them, maybe ask them a question about their lives, because who knows, maybe they really need that. Mm-hmm. Maybe they really need a little bit of that connection to know that someone's thinking about them. And that could feel good for you. Like, it doesn't have to be ginormous grand gestures. Maybe it is needing to be a little bit of that though too. Maybe you need to like sign up for some volunteering, like some community outreach, things like that. That could be really transformative for you to know that, man, I am serving people. I am not just turning inward to this state of sadness and fear and like trapping myself in that, but I am actually focusing on others instead of my own feelings. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I think to your point, and I wrestle with this because it's always very self-serving. I'm an Enneagram 3, which I always struggle with people's perception of me, and I always try to change that. But I think instead of, and this sounds, at first I really wrestled with this idea of like, for example, even our company, like what is our vision and mission for our company? It's transforming women's relationship with food so that the next generation of girls doesn't have to, right? At first I was like, well, that sounds really good. And it sounds very inspirational. And I was like, but for me, it's more about how is it going to impact me? And I'll be very transparent. And now I do genuinely believe that, and I've told you this, I do think that our business itself is starting to get to a point where it outgrows you and I, and this vision and mission that we have is now much bigger and much more impactful than just what you and I stand for. But yeah, it's that whole purpose of, and I just had a conversation with one of our team members about that. It's not about, servicing people. It's about serving them, serving what's best for them, holding them accountable, like whatever that might look like. Or even just something as simple as like holding a door open for somebody that can make a big difference,
Yeah, they can be tiny gestures to where it's almost, I think, can be better in a way.
Like I gave you a massage last night. That was a tiny gesture. Did I not?
You rubbed one of my feet for 5 minutes after you lost a bet that was supposed to be a 10-minute massage.
I'm willing to defer that. It was a 10-minute calf massage that I put a lot of time and effort into.
But the point here is like, I think when you can actually just focus your thoughts and your energy on how can I be of service to others? How can I serve others? How can I help and support others? Like, it really does help you feel a little bit more uplifted. I think that's, we're by nature, we are, even those of us who would maybe identify as introverts like myself, or who maybe would, identify in some of these ways, like we can grab onto these personality traits and be like, oh, that doesn't really like come as naturally to me or doesn't help me as much. Like, it doesn't matter. Human nature is we are communal by being, and we are meant to actually be with others. And when things are heavy, we tend to turn inward. We tend to self-focus. We tend to actually pull away. So we have to combat that. We have to push against that. And so that's where I think another aspect of this, not even just like the serving of others, but just in general, get around community, and specifically get around community of people who are good for you, are like a healthy place of community for you. Because there also can be those aspects of, we don't want to be like from this place of loneliness, maybe reaching out to the person that we probably shouldn't, or, reconnecting with somebody that we know is not good for us, does not support, healthy habits and behaviors. That's not what I'm encouraging here. I'm encouraging get into an environment of people who that they'll uplift you. Like,
what is the, you've shared this analogy. There's a difference between people that are energy drainers and energy chargers. It's that concept, right?
Yes.
Or am I saying it right?
Yeah. It's right there. Are you a, someone knows it and they're like screaming at their podcast right now of like, that's what it is. You can Google for it.
Is it battery? Like you're I don't know. I'll look it up.
Yeah. But, yeah, I can't come up with it. But yes, coming back to community, I think it's just like we tend to get into this place of withdrawal.
This says battery versus vacuums, meaning the people that provide energy, motivation, and vacuums are the people that drain your energy.
I think that's one that could work. Yeah. That's not the one I was thinking of. Yeah, but anyway, that does the trick. I think it just comes down to, though, if you are in this place, like we tend to almost sometimes, because if we either feel negative, we want to like disconnect from that and almost feel like apathetic. Sometimes that can be like the other alternative. And so when we do that, it's normal to pull back from community and to disconnect from people. Get around people, get around your people. And if you're like, I don't know who my people are, find people, put yourself into communities. No matter where you live, there are some form of communities. This is 2025. There are easy ways to connect with people. There are community groups you can get in. I don't know, join like a pickleball league or something. Seems like everybody's doing that nowadays.
No, run clubs are the new thing, apparently.
Yeah, run clubs. Doesn't even have to be physically active. Like, it could be a book club. It could be anything.
You want to share the group that you just joined?
Yeah, Omar and I both actually just joined small groups at our church, and that's my first time joining a in-person.
I saw your story the other day about how nervous you were going into your group.
Like stressed. I was nervous. I have not. It kind of felt a lot like when you're back in college and you're like, okay, I'm going to go and like be with this group of people I've never met before, and like I need to go connect with them. I don't know. But anyway, that was great. I really enjoyed that. And it truly, like, it feeds your soul being around people. It's so important. So even if you get around community who maybe also is feeling the same heaviness, that's okay too. Like, it's sometimes also helpful just to be around other people who can share in thoughts and feelings with you, because even if you're like, well, I wouldn't want to be like more pulled down, sometimes it's also helpful to know that you are not alone in your feelings, because that can also be a really detrimental and dangerous place to be in, is when you let this lie grab onto your brain that I am the only one who feels this way. Mm. And that's where we like start to turn inward even more, and we start to separate even more because we're like ashamed and we think that we're different. Whereas if you could sometimes actually connect with people over like, this is how I'm feeling, they're like, yeah, I feel that way too. And you can kind of share in that feeling. You both can kind of like take the burden off of each other a little bit, and then also do some of the other things I'm listing here to help pull yourself up too. So, that could mean maybe doing things that are a little more playful. Maybe, even if you and like the other person are feeling some heaviness, maybe you guys actively are like, hey, we need to do something that just feels playful. Like, what did you do as a child? I know Omar and I have shared it here before. So every once in a while, we like to go rollerblading. We haven't done
it in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a little while. But like,
I'm a little nervous. I don't know if I want to get back on the rollerblades.
Silly, playful things where you're just like, there's no point to this. It's not like we're trying to like get good at it. Like,
I am.
You treat everything as a competition. But if you're not an Enneagram 3, then you can find rollerblading just to be something that's like, there's no point to this. We're just going around, and it just kind of feels fun and different and playful. For myself, obviously, a lot of people know like horses is a big part of my life, always has been. And so I don't ride as much as I used to when it like was my whole life. but still just getting out and going for a ride, like that feels really playful and fun for me. Find something that like, especially if you can get into your physical body, but for some people, creative things can do this, maybe drawing, painting, music, things like that, things I don't really resonate with because I'm not that creative. But find what is like your thing that you can just do and just feel playful in it. That's important. And with that, I think also just supporting your body on a physical level. So, when we talk about how can you support yourself through these feelings without necessarily being like, okay, I got to change my feelings, I got to shift out of these feelings. How can you support yourself physically? So, obviously, a lot of the things we talk about throughout these podcasts, maybe just fuel yourself on a good level. Choose foods that are actually good for you. Even if you're like reaching for things that you're like, oh, this would satisfy a feeling, actually ask yourself, what would be good and nourishing for my body right now? Maybe it means going for a good silent walk outdoors. That's what I did last night, where I just went for a long walk to the park, and I literally just letting my dog running around in the grass, and I was just like staring at the trees and the clouds and watching like the color of the sky change as the sun was going down. It's like little things like that are actually so restorative.
I feel like we can learn so much from dogs. Like our dog Zoe just loves the park. She'll just sit there and cross her little paws, and just like her nose starts going, and she just does not want to leave the park.
Totally
But I'm
present.
like, yeah, she just to me, I'm like, if I could get that happy, I'm like, it would be incredible. By just going to the park, it would be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think some other things too, again, just things that have helped me and supported me, but really focusing actively on the good. And again, when I come back to like the whole idea of this podcast is just how to support yourself when life feels heavy, meaning not how to change the fact that life feels heavy, not trying to change how you feel, but just trying to support yourself through it, trusting that this feeling will pass. You can support yourself through it by also actively choosing to focus on the good. Because when we focus on the good, we see more good. Our brain does work that way. It's the same reason of like when you see a car that you're interested in buying, suddenly you see 10 million of the same car on the road because your brain starts to pick up on them and notice them more. They're not more of those cars. Your brain is seeing more of them. So same thing of like when you actively, okay, let me maybe start my day by like listing out what I'm grateful for. Maybe even just like thinking back to past memories of like things from your past that you're grateful for. And you actually shift in and feel that, your brain's going to actually find more of it. You can then like create more of it in your day.
Yeah, I know at times you and I will, before we go to bed, we'll ask like, what was the best part about your day? And little stuff like that, it sounds so subtle and like silly, but I'm like, that
really
was
does make
a
a
great,
difference.
experience or a great thing that happened. And now you're like, oh, now I get to go to sleep. And I don't know, to me, at least my heart feels full and my cup feels full. And it's such a good way to do it.
Yeah. And I think another aspect of this too is spending a little bit more time just daydreaming, like daydreaming about the future.
I think you're going to say day drinking. Just day drinking.
Yeah, maybe for
Get
some
some
people,
mimosas.
that's not on my list, but daydream about the future. Think about, what's possible. And the reason I point this out is because truly, I think one of the hardest things is when you're in this place where life feels heavy, we tend to almost like catastrophize and think of it as like, this is how it's always going to feel. This is just the way life is. This is just like, I'm never not going to feel this way. I'm always going to feel this way. Things will never get better. Like we start to have these very dramatic thoughts. So how can we shift out of that is like, let our brains just be purely playful and exploratory of like, maybe pull up some fun, playful questions. Like if you have a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend or, a best friend, a roommate, maybe grab them and be like, hey, let's do like some fun daydreaming connection questions. Just probably ask Google for some different things, but maybe it's like thinking about.
You want to know what my favorite one is?
What?
My favorite daydreaming question is, I'll like, whenever like the lottery goes really high and it's like $900 million. I'm like, what would I do if I won the lottery tomorrow? What would I buy? And I literally just start be like, well, I would buy this and I would buy that and I would get this person this thing and I would buy XYZ thing. And to me, it's just so much fun.
My mom and I used to play that all the time when we were little. Anytime we were driving, we'd see what the Powerball is. She'd be like, okay, if we win that, what are we getting? Like, what horse are you going to buy?
You're like, all of them.
But really what all this comes down to is we just have to remember emotional states are temporary. Doesn't always feel that way. It does not always feel that way, but part of the reason it can start to feel like it's not temporary and that it is forever is because we're not supporting ourselves through that. And so this is why you have to support yourself. You have to do something to help yourself and to make sure you don't fall into this place of just pure hopelessness and helplessness where you will stay stuck and you will make it a lot worse, realistically, because life is meant to be 50-50. It's not meant to always feel good. It's not meant to always be happy and fun and just feel amazing. And so there's nothing wrong with you when you have bad days, when you feel like things are hard, when you feel sad, when you feel down, when you feel frustrated. Like, this is part of life. It is part of life. But it really should only be about 50% of life. So if it feels like it's more than 50%, then it might just be a season that you're in for one, and I would argue...
You mean like the negativity is more than 50% or the hard times is more than 50%?
Yeah, like the heaviness. It feels like I have been trapped in this place for a while. It doesn't feel like this is 50% of my life. It feels like this is like just what my life is. Then I would argue that you are right before a big turnaround is going to happen for you.
Ooh,
and that you're going to have a point in time where you're going to be living on like the other side of that for a good period of time. And you're going to be like, wow, I can see now how that balance has evened out of like, I can see that now I'm in the other side of that 50%. But regardless of where you are, if you're in the place where life feels heavy, you can support yourself through it. You can do these things. And I got to make sure I add as well, if you feel this way and if you don't work with a therapist or a counselor or, a mindset coach, somebody to support you in this area, please get some help, because it's important not to try and support yourself only in this. Like, support yourself, yes, but also get help. There's nothing wrong with you for needing help. I think everybody, at least at some point in their life, should have a therapist or counselor or somebody to work through these things, because we are all humans. We're all going to struggle with these things. It's normal. It's part of being human. So a little bit of a different episode today, but I hope this was helpful for you guys. Maybe it's one that you come back to when you feel more this way, because I hope that maybe you're not feeling this way right now. I hope that for you. But if this was, maybe send it to a friend, maybe share it with somebody else who you feel like would benefit from this. Maybe, share it on Instagram if you feel like it would be helpful for others to hear it or see it. But that is all for this week. We'll be back next week with another great episode.
Bye, everybody.